Story 1, The Haunted Cabin. The storm had been raging for hours when Sarah decided to seek shelter in an old cabin she stumbled upon deep in the woods. She had been hiking alone, and the rain had caught her off guard. As she entered the cabin, a cold draft made her shiver. The only source of light was the dim glow of a single flickering candle. Thunder rumbled in the distance as Sarah, drenched and shivering, searched for anything that could provide warmth. She found an old tattered blanket, wrapped it around herself, and tried to get comfortable on the dusty, creaky floor. But just as she began to relax, the cabin's atmosphere grew sinister. Muffled whispers echoed through the cabin, and the shadows danced menacingly on the walls. Sarah's heart raced as she heard footsteps approaching from behind. She turned, expecting to find a fellow traveler, but instead, a ghastly figure stood before her. Its face was pale and contorted with anguish, and it reached out with bony fingers as if begging for help. The ghostly figure moved closer, its footsteps not making a sound, and Sarah let out a blood-curdling scream as it reached out to touch her. But then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the apparition vanished, leaving Sarah in a state of shock. The whispers ceased, and the room returned to an eerie stillness. She couldn't spend another moment in that haunted cabin. With trembling hands, she gathered her things and rushed out into the pouring rain, never looking back. Story 2, The Lonely Road. The rain was relentless as Mark drove down the desolate, winding road, miles away from civilization. He was on his way to visit a friend, but the storm had made the journey treacherous. The thick curtain of rain limited his visibility, and he struggled to keep his car on the road. As he turned a bend, Mark noticed a figure standing in the middle of the road, drenched and shivering. He slammed on the brakes and brought his car to a screeching halt just inches away from the mysterious person. Mark's heart pounded in his chest as he rolled down his window. The stranger was a woman with disheveled hair and clothes clinging to her like a second skin. She begged for a ride, claiming her car had broken down, and she was stranded alone in the storm. Mark, against his better judgment, agreed to help her and open the passenger door. She climbed in, and he resumed his journey, the rain still drumming heavily on the roof of the car. The woman seemed distressed, mumbling to herself, and Mark could hardly make out her words. Suddenly, she turned to him with wild, bloodshot eyes, her voice now a chilling whisper, "I was never alone." Before Mark could react, the woman's eyes turned pitch black, and she let out an otherworldly shriek. Mark swerved off the road and into a tree, the sound of the collision drowned out by the storm. When he regained consciousness, the woman was gone, and Mark was left alone, injured, and stranded in the middle of nowhere, with no sign of the mysterious passenger. Story 3, The Abandoned Asylum. Alone at night in an abandoned mental asylum during a torrential downpour, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of dread. He had always been drawn to the macabre, and exploring this decrepit place had been a lifelong dream. However, what he discovered within the crumbling walls was beyond his darkest nightmares. As he wandered the dimly lit, water-damaged corridors, strange noises echoed through the building. Alex shivered with fear as he ventured further into the asylum's depths. Whispers and screams seemed to seep from the very walls themselves. In one room, he found a rusted, blood-stained gurney, restraints hanging from the sides. As he approached, a chilling voice whispered in his ear, "They're still here." Alex turned to see a shadowy figure looming behind him, its face obscured by darkness. Panicked, he tried to flee, but the apparition blocked his path. As he approached, a chilling voice whispered in his ear, "They're still here." He realized that he was not alone in the asylum. The tortured souls of the past patients still roamed the decaying halls, seeking retribution for the horrors they had endured. As the rain continued to pour outside, Alex's screams joined the cacophony of the restless spirits, and he knew he would never leave the asylum alive. These tales serve as a chilling reminder that darkness and rain can bring forth horrors beyond our imagination, and the lonely nights can hide terrors that are all too real.